Dooby-dooby-dooby-dooby-doo-bop-bop.
Rotten
apples.
Number 3.
Episode 3.
Like all great trilogies, this could be it.
What movie had the best movie that was the third one? Or what movie series?
Had the best trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm honest.
Where the third movie was the best one.
I would say Naked Gun, 33 and a third. I would not say Star Wars.
Oh boy. That's a hot take.
I don't know. Empire Strikes Back was amazing. Wookiees, I was on board right away. But when the Ewoks were involved, and not to take any jobs from little people, but it got to be a bit much. How about you?
It's a tough one.
Harry Potter, does that count?
The third Harry Potter is probably one of my favorites, but that's not a trilogy. That's like
What do they even
8 movie
call it?
series. An octology?
I feel like not like Coachella, but Ochella. Yeah, it's like 2 trilogies and a couple of bonus.
What are we talking about today? It's episode 3.
Episode 3, as you teased in the last one, please go to your streaming device or whatever you use to listen.
We are going to review, or I'm going to give my feedback on Piano Lesson.
And a lesson. And we use the term incomparable for Nathan Lane. I think it would stand for Samuel L. Jackson as well.
Oh, for sure.
I think he's more of a legendary type myself. Do you know what his first movie was?
No. Not Snakes on a Plane.
I've showed it to you and I made you watch it. It was Coming to America. He is...
Oh, that's right.
He is,
Well, you fell asleep, so...
Okay, you're beating a dead horse here. Beating a sleeping horse. Yeah, the reason I am talking so much at the onset of this podcast episode is because I did not attend this play. I was feeling ill, so Gloria had to go solo. We wasted money on a ticket. She did try to sell it to no avail.
I did.
Wasn't it, I guess, as hot as a ticket as maybe Funny Girl and some of these other things?
Well, I don't think that Piano Lesson got as good reviews as people were expecting. So we bought our tickets way in advance, probably like 2 months in advance, because we both wanted to see Samuel L. Jackson.
And Samuel L. Jackson, he also played a wedding pianist in Kill Bill Volume 2.
Do you have an encyclopedic knowledge of Samuel L. Jackson's
I'm a fan.
IMDb?
No, I'm a fan, and Quentin Tarantino puts him in pretty much every movie. I think he's been in all of his films. I'm trying to think. There might have been one exception.
Wow, I didn't realize that missing this play was such a big deal for you.
I'm a big fan. I don't believe he's in the latest one. Is it Once Upon a Time in America, or what's it called? Once Upon a Time.
Oh,
Hollywood.
yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That one was good. So yeah, it has Samuel L. Jackson. It has John David Washington, who is Denzel Washington's kid.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
A Nepo baby, they call him.
He was in Tenant. Another one of Charlie's snoozer movies.
I tried.
And then it has Danielle Brooks, who is a Grammy-winning and a Tony Award-nominated actress. I am not as familiar with her biography.
I know. Well, tell us who it's by, Gloria.
So it's a play by August Wilson. Ironically, it's not at the August Wilson Theater. It's Funny Girl is at the August Wilson Theater.
That is related, though? The theater is named after
August
him?
Wilson Theater is named after August Wilson, yes.
But he couldn't get his play there.
I guess Funny Girl
Trumped it?
Funny Girl is a longer running show, so it's probably why they weren't able to put it there.
So August Wilson's kids is like, no, we're going with Funny Girl. Go down the block.
Well, Piano Lesson was only supposed to be a 16-week run. I think they extended it by maybe a couple weeks. Did a little bit of research. It's part of what is called his Pittsburgh cycle, which is 10 plays that take place in Pittsburgh, except for one that takes place in Chicago. And August Wilson does this thing where his plays all take place in a single space. So I think Fences takes place in like the backyard. Similarly, this takes place in the living room of a house. It's about a piano. But the main plot is that there's a brother and a sister. The sister lives in the house. The brother is coming to visit her. He is a sharecropper in the South. He found this opportunity where he can buy the land of the slave owners where their ancestors were slaves. He's on this like mission to essentially become owners of the land where they were enslaved, which is like a symbolic thing for him. And he believes that the only way he can do this is to sell this piano that is in their family. The piano is worth a lot of money for various reasons, and the sister doesn't want to sell the piano because it's representative of a lot of the things that the family went through to get to where they are today.
She wants to give it to her son Tito.
The reason why the piano is such a big deal in the family is because the piano used to belong to a slave owner, and the family got split up in exchange for this piano. That's the main plot. There's a brother and sister who have this piano, and the brother wants to sell it, the sister wants to keep it.
So it sounds hilarious. Very deep, very powerful, but do you think any of it was based on truth, or is it completely made up by August Wilson?
I think it's made up because there's one of the interesting parts of the play is that there's like superstition and ghosts that actually
interact,
reveal themselves. Not to give away too much of the plot.
Expose themselves.
But yes, there's a naked ghost. No.
Is it done well? They do it over the loudspeaker?
So it's cool. Before you walk in, there's a little thing in the lobby that says there's smoke and flashing lights and stuff. So if you're sensitive to that, you should be aware of it.
Yes, I was going to ask you too, how do the Tony Awards impact ghosts? Is there a ghost category for the Tony Awards, like best extraterrestrial?
Is there a ghost category? I don't know. You can write to the Academy and ask.
Well, I have been writing, but I will continue to write to them. Besides the spirits you mentioned, it's also just the three of them?
So, no, there's a lot of characters, which is I'm going to butcher all of them, but there's a lot of characters. Samuel L. Jackson plays, it was not clear to me, but Samuel L. Jackson plays the uncle of the brother and sister. And the sister lives with him.
You say it wasn't clear, is that because the age differences, his look, or
no.
In the play it's just not very clear?
I mean, okay, the other part of the play that was kind of hard is that they all talk in like a southern accent, and they did a great job, but I honestly had a hard time understanding some of what they were saying. So maybe they made it clear in the first 20 minutes, but I completely missed it.
Okay. So kind of a Mississippi, New Orleans hybrid 1930s accent he was?
Yeah, maybe. I guess so. Samuel Jackson's character probably grew up in the South, and John David Washington's character was coming from the South. So the first 10 or 15 minutes are just them bantering with each other, and that was difficult to understand because of the accent. But then Danielle Brooks' character, the sister, comes in and spent more time in the North, and she is easier to understand for me. So I think it's just part of the character.
At least it made sort of sense.
It did.
So I couldn't go, obviously, because I was sick, and then I went and met you. The first thing you said was that it was hard to follow, I think. Was
the first part of it was
you really enjoyed the performances?
It's a play, but there were 2 scenes where they feature singing and music. I felt like it was pretty seamlessly flowed into these songs. The first one was, I believe it was like probably a traditional slave song. That was very powerful to watch. Pretty moving. And then the second one, one of the characters is a quote unquote famous piano player who like fell down on his luck.
Gambling or the booze?
Probably both.
Chasing women?
Lots of chasing women.
Chasing women is very expensive.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
What are you trying to say?
Well, there was an existence before you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
If you want to hear about Charlie's past.
Yeah, it's a separate podcast of chasing women.
Charlie will feature that on his other podcast. There's a second piece where there's a famous piano he had a short stint of being famous, but he does like a nice jazz-ish song and everyone sings, including the lead female, Danielle Brooks. She's really good.
This guy, so you think he was classically trained singer, pianist? Was it play?
The
Does he play the
character
piano
or the
and sing?
actor?
The actor.
Yeah, he does. He plays the piano.
So he's not like faking it.
Yeah, he totally plays the piano and sings. Let me see.
So for his audition, he had to kind of nail it.
I think his name is Michael Potts. He had a lot. He was the most animated character, I would say.
Looked like there's about 8 main
aside
characters.
From. Yeah, there's quite a few characters. It's hard to get into all of them. He is an MFA.
That is a great name.
Michael Potts has his MFA from Yale.
That was kind of the catharsis of the...
No, the catharsis of this play is giving away a surprise ending, so I won't
do like
go
a spoiler
there.
alert thing.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
But it's no longer on Broadway, so maybe it'll go to Minneapolis or...
Maybe it'll tour.
Second city, Chicago. Third city, Minneapolis.
If you are interested, there is a movie that came out in the...
1995.
Thanks, Charlie.
I did a little bit of homework.
1995. So if you want to watch it, there is a movie. Doesn't star Samuel L. Jackson, unfortunately.
All female cast?
No. Very funny. The play also won a Pulitzer Prize in 1990. Let's talk about the set a little bit. The play takes place in the uncle's house, and that's also where Bernice, the main female lead, lives with her daughter. The set is just the house, but it's cool. They have like an upstairs piece to it. And what you don't notice is that as the siblings or as the family starts to kind of take sides about like whether or not they should sell the piano, the set is built so that the house frame starts to come apart. By the end of the show, you can see that the house is split. I didn't realize it at the time. I thought that it was just part of the set. You don't really notice that it's coming apart.
You're just thinking like a teamster took a day off and...
No, you're just like thinking like maybe that's the stylistic approach. But then at the end when the house fully comes back together, you're like, oh yeah, like that is part of the set. Kind of a cool thing that you know. It was super cool.
So Gloria, tell me about 3 highlights for you.
So 3 highlights. I mean, seeing Samuel L. Jackson on stage and sing was so cool.
Cooler to see Nathan Lane or Samuel Jackson
Ooh.
both equally. Both legends.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, these actors are, so ingrained in our everyday pop culture. It's wild to see them live.
I think I would have freaked out seeing Samuel Jackson just because he's been more part of my cinematic experience. I've seen Nathan Lane in Birdcage and some other movies and Only Murders, but I think for me, I love Samuel Jackson. So I don't know if that has been made clear yet.
Yeah. I think the set, looking back on it afterwards, that was just so well incorporated into the storyline, and it felt like I was in a movie.
So is that 2?
And then the music. I didn't expect there to be music because it's a play, but I felt like the music was really powerful, and it was a great way to highlight music of the era. My low light would probably be that, so this is probably colored a little bit by a review I read recently, which is basically like they trivialize the entire plot message of the play by making it too funny and too sitcom-y, which I felt like, I don't think it was that sitcom-y. I think it still was able to touch on difficult messages that it was trying to convey. But my low light is that I couldn't understand some of the accents.
And I obviously like humor in my things. I feel like it's more powerful when there's a little bit of humor because I think life is very tragic, very sad, but I get through it with humor. Other people, maybe that's not their experience, but I think we go to the theater to escape a little bit. When it's so depressing, it's like I would side with the way they did that way. So sorry,
what I was meant to say was because of the accents, I couldn't understand the jokes, which some of the audience was dying laughing. So that was kind of a downer for me, just personally.
What were the demographics you think of the...
I think it was largely a black audience, which is expected. Maybe age-wise, like a mixed crowd, younger, older crowd.
Was it Wednesday night?
I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday night. Midweek show. It was very busy.
Sold out.
I don't know.
For one seat was open?
Yeah. Our seats were the last row in the way back of the theater. There's not a lot of detail I could have seen.
Okay. And then, so you can speak first. Did you have a delusional celebrity sighting while you were there?
No delusional celebrity sighting aside from Samuel L. Jackson, which was pretty
Not
awesome.
delusional, it was a real one.
Yeah.
I did have one on the way home. I think when I walked you there and walked back, I thought I saw a guy who looked like Eugene Levy, or at least had Eugene Levy eyebrows. So,
Was he wearing a mask?
no COVID mask. What is that?
I think the vibe of the crowd, just to wrap that piece up, everyone was very excited about the play, which for a play that is kind of a depressing plotline was juxtaposition of the crowd's vibe versus like what the play was actually about. I think the fact that it was Samuel L. Jackson and then John David Washington, two heavy-hitting names from Hollywood, really had the crowd buzzing.
Well, it seems like for the theater crowd too, August Wilson's a
And
household
obviously,
name.
August Wilson.
I'm new to theater, so it's an important name, but he has a theater named after him. So a lot of tragedy.
Yeah, a lot of tragedy. Like, it's sad stuff, but he does it in a way that, I mean, he brings African American life to the stage. Like, that's him.
This is the category I put in. Gloria had no part of this, but I always ask, is there any nudity? Is it good for parents, kids?
Is it family friendly, I guess is the...
That's what I was trying to say.
Yes, generally.
That's how dysfunctional your family is.
But anyway, yeah. Piano lesson was packed on a Tuesday night. Honestly, I can't remember if there was merch or not. I was trying to get out of there. It was definitely a big crowd. I'm pretty sure you could have gotten drinks.
Do you think they had themed drinks?
No.
They're named after one of the ghosts.
Gosh. Expectation versus reality for me.
It seemed like that one review lowered the bar in your mind a
Well,
little
I
bit.
read that after. I went in blind. I don't like going in reading reviews. I don't want to be skewed one way or the other. Which
You think blind people are offended by that saying?
maybe.
Is that like the next?
Should we stop saying that?
I don't know. That, and I think saying ex-cons, I think will be offensive. I think that it'll be
Previously
incarcerated. Temporarily incarcerated. My uncle was temporarily incarcerated, but now he has gotten his life together.
I think I liked it. I like it more now that I digested it. I think initially I didn't not like it, but I like it a little bit more. That's my afterglow. I can see the points of the other side of people who didn't think it was that good. It was a little clunky maybe in the plot. Like, I couldn't understand who people were really.
So is that as a fact of the dialogue?
That's difficult for me to know because I wish that I had either read the plot before or even read the play itself.
And because of the movie, people are coming in somewhat maybe schooled on some
Maybe.
of it. Like, you come in at least knowing August Wilson's
most-
work and seeing the movie.
If you're at all into theater, you've probably read a couple of August Wilson plays.
The one you saw when you were young, or
We studied fences in high school.
what kind of school did you go to? How posh.
What did you read in high school?
I went to a Catholic school.
So no
Genesis, Psalms.
No, there wasn't any.
I barely learned evolution.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there was no study of African American playwrights in your high school, is what you're telling me.
There was not.
They didn't exist.
We did have a theater, but that was...
To your school.
If you participated in sports, it was tough to fit in theater, but I would have loved to have had the confidence to get on stage and get my crackling voice up there as I went through puberty.
This is the sidebar. Charlie's aspiring theater career that never happened. Okay. I think it was worth the $45 I paid, although now that doubling it because Charlie didn't go, it's like $90. I think it was worth it. Would I have paid more than that? Probably not. Just because I feel like I can get cheap theater tickets.
Tell everybody, like, we go through Today Ticks.
Yeah, we went through Today Ticks. We got the tickets super early. Like
That's
I said.
a good tip, to do it way ahead of time.
Yeah, do it way ahead of time.
Because Jessica Chastain's coming out with
Doll's House. And I bought tickets like the moment I saw, and they were like $45 a piece, which is awesome.
The thing with that is, like, if it's a hit, tickets just skyrocket.
Yeah.
So we like to go early, and if we're, like, again, we're both star lovers, So like, I really like Jessica Chastain, not Samuel Jackson but close. I was gonna ask you too, like, what you think about adding a star to get our attention, because it clearly works for me.
I mean, it's definitely a surefire way of bringing money into a show. But in order for Hollywood stars to do a show like this, they're giving up half a year at minimum.
Learn it,
be in it,
and then just do it.
Yeah.
And the piano lesson is similar to what Samuel Jackson would net in a Marvel movie. I'm sure it's exactly
the same.
The per diem.
But I think it also, lends a lot of credibility to Hollywood actors who are able to be on stage, because stage is the purest form of acting, right? But if you want to be an actor, you have to be on stage. And Broadway is the way to show you are a serious actor and you can carry a show. And it's tough. You're doing this, like Hugh Jackman did Music Man 8 times a week for...
It's like a year almost.
Almost a year.
He's a star, though.
He's a star. He is a major star. It's just to say that if you can really demonstrate your skill on Broadway, it's a home run.
Like Hugh Jackman and Samuel Jackson already have enough money and then they want to, maybe they're EGOTing, just they want to get the
Tony.
The other thing I like to think about it as, like for marketing purposes, it makes sense. But I think like Samuel Jackson could do anything, and the fact that he chooses his play makes me think like this is probably a good script.
We didn't talk about this. Samuel Jackson was in the original production that premiered at Yale of Piano Lesson.
There's no way he played the same character.
I don't know. He might have.
The uncle.
I don't know what character
he is forever
played.
40, right?
He looks exactly the same.
40 when he was 20.
I know.
40 now that he's like in his upper 60s.
Samuel Jackson being in the reprisal of this play is a callback to an earlier part of his career, where he was doing plays at Yale.
I think he was hooking up then or more now.
Oh my gosh, Charlie.
At it. But thanks for listening to Rotten Apples.
Thanks for listening.
Episode number 3.
Episode 3. Piano Lesson.
Piano Lesson.
If you can watch it, do watch it.
If it comes to your city, watch it. There's a film, 1995. We don't know which streaming. We'll look up.
Yep.
But coming soon, I think we're going to review... we're going to switch over to comedy. Back to my area.
Episode 4. Look forward to...
Kate Berlant.
Directed by...
Bo Burnham.
I'm excited to review that one.
Thanks for listening. Write in with more questions and we'll...
leave comments in our Instagram or the YouTube.
And then we'll spend a little time at the end of each episode answering those questions.
Especially Charlie's friends. Ask whatever questions you want. Oh, you never mentioned your favorite actor.
My favorite actor?
Greg Kinnear. There's your drinking.
Yep. For those waiting to take a sip of your drink.
Okay. Greg Kinnear. Goodbye.